Hello, hello, my baby gorillas. We're back in business. Anyway, so here I am, just a quick chat with regards to what is happening with the Labour Party. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Just to let you know, my family, my great grandfather was a plater, which was in the shipyards in Glasgow. Glasgow had one of the largest shipbuilding centres in the world at that point. They were world renowned. For actually building ships. They built some incredible ships back in the day. And it was a vibrant community. Hello, Texas. Hello. Thank you very much. Good to see you, Frank. So, I my family would come from very much a Glaswegian working class family. My relatives were from a very much a working class background in Glasgow, where my grandmother was brought up in what was called a tenement, which was or a single end they used to call it, which was a very small flat in Glasgow. Good to see you too, Frank. And I thought basically my great grandfather was quite a well liked trade unionist. He had a good write up by the press and the unions in Glasgow. We did get Tommy back. It's good. So I'm glad that Tommy's out. Hopefully, get a wee chat with him. I'd like to get in contact with him. I'll hopefully speak to him soon. And let me continue talking with this, Frank, and then I'll come back to me later on in the chat. So, my great grandfather was a trade unionist. Both my grandparents worked in Dax Simpson. So my mother's grandparents, or my grandparents, my mother's mother and father came from Govan. My father's side came from Clydebank, and they got the shit blown out them by the National Socialist Germans, because obviously Clydebank and Govan, as Glaswegians will know, are both on the Clyde. And as I said, the Clyde was one of the biggest manufacturing areas for boats and military equipment, and a lot of the people round Govan and Clydebank suffered from the shit getting blown out them by the Luftwaffe, and they had to get decanted out to Lanarkshire. Although my name's Ballantyne, and we originally historically have come from Lanarkshire. So both my grandparents were textile workers in Dax Simpson's in Lark Hall, and my grandfather was a shop steward as well, which is basically works in the trade unions as well. So I have very much a working class background. I come from hard-working people that I've managed to avoid, but I come from a long line of semi-skilled professionals who were basically tradespeople who helped build Glasgow like so many other families. And they would have been Labour supporters, or certainly probably socialists, improving the law of the working man and woman. I've got absolutely no doubt in that. But my great uncle, as I said before, fought in the Second World War. He was at Nijmegen, which was A Bridge Too Far, the film A Bridge Too Far. And he fought against National Socialism, because obviously National Socialism is a cancer, just a bit like communism. Both of these sort of socialist ideologies are a bit of a cancer, killed millions of people. And they basically came from a Labour background. I would have suggested Central Scotland, working class Labour background. And I'm sure they would all be spinning in their graves to see the British Labour Party becoming the Labour Nazi Party in the UK. I mean, the anti-Semitism is unbelievable. And I believe there are goose-stepping, yes, they are both evil, Frank, goose-stepping lessons at the new Labour conference. I mean, it's unbelievable the fact that the Labour Party has sunk into this almost national socialism that Jeremy Corbyn has managed to enthuse through the Labour Party. And through hi mate, how you doing? And through the Labour Party, and actually then now corrupted the ideas of looking after the individuals who may be less fortunate. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And there's old Shuka, I love him, Shuka, who is just about to get de-seated as an MP because there's a purge. Like back in communism, I mean, they're so disgusting. I mean, I don't know how we've got the village idiots at the top of the Labour Party. I mean, Steptoe and I'll come back to McDonald in a minute. Old MacDonald had a farm. If he had only worked in the farm, he might actually understand industry. We've got these guys who, I don't know how they managed to get there. The idiots have taken over the asylum. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. It's unbelievable how they've actually managed to take over the party and install this communism. So, and I've already talked about McDonald. I'm not really going into too much depth because I just thought people would understand that he's an idiot. But now I'm going to go into a wee bit more depth because he just published something today that's absolutely stupid. And it just sums up what a bunch of retards there are in the Labour Party. So what does old MacDonald want to do now? He wants to bring in a fund that has to be given by the company to actually allow, I'd rather see a military coup than have Corbyn in the Labour government. Well, so we've now got MacDonald saying that companies have got to set up a fund to pay for shares that are the state is going to force the companies to set up funds from their own profits to pay for shares in the company by the workers. Now, there already are voluntary share ownerships by employees. So that's already there. But because MacDonald is an idiot, I mean, I don't understand how he's managed to get this far. He's obviously never run a company in his life. And now he's wanting to use the state to force companies to actually set up funds and buy back the shares. Well, if they would just have to have a share ownership, set up a share ownership for the company. But actually, a company might not want to do that. If I've set up a company, it's my company, I might not want to give away my shares. There should be no compulsion to actually be dictated to by the state whose shares and who I should be giving my shares to, and piss off. And what's going to actually happen, because he's such an idiot, all that would happen is I would move my company offshore, and then and I would go into a tax haven, and then I wouldn't be paying your taxes, so that Steptoe is staying in a multi-million-pound house down in London, where he's got, I don't know, I think he's got socialist servants tiptoeing around him. I know he's not got any refugees, but I know he's probably get some socialist servants, because that's what happens. The socialists get richer in a socialist economy. And now they're talking about replacing Venezuela, the dictator in Venezuela, because he's another crackpot. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, Diane Abbott for Home Secretary. I mean, really? You wouldn't employ her. So all that's going to happen by forcing companies to actually force them to... Now, there is a merit in actually having share ownership by your employees. It can incentivise and give the employees an incentive to actually have a stake in the company. And I'm certainly not opposed to that. And there are certain aspects like mutual companies. We had 9 large mutual life companies in Scotland that were run by the employees, and that worked quite well. And I think the Co-op, which is now a supermarket, also was set up along a mutual lines where it was basically worked by the workers. But you can do that in a capitalist situation. You don't need a wee diddy like McDonald telling you what to do with your company. If John McDonald wants to set up a company along those lines, let him set up his own company and see how hard it is. And see, as the state, going to be financing these startup companies? Because I know, because I'll come back to what actually happened to me at a later date in setting up a company. But if McDonald's want to set up a company, let him set up his own company and let him give them the shareholders. Stop telling other people what they shouldn't be doing and not doing with their companies. Boils my blood. Absolutely ridiculous. He's probably never had a company in his life. He doesn't know even remotely how hard it is to actually set it up. So what a twat, honestly. I mean, really, there must be people with really incredibly low IQs to even be flirting with the notion of voting Labour. What are they doing to the Zeke Kyle and Jeremy Kyle at the Labour conference? Disgusting. And there's old Chucky, and Magic Nawaz has been making some very good commentary, and he's telling old Chucky to get out of the Labour Party, because before he gets axed by the new loony left purge for all the commies that is happening down all the new National Socialists. They're asking why there's 500,000 people in the Labour Party. It's full of Nazis, that's why. Old Chucky is going to now potentially have to leave and join old Gina Miller, the illiberal liberal, in her new King Ming illiberal Liberals party, because there's not really much else for them to do unless they're going to set up this new centrist Tony Blair-esque party. And to move on to Tony Blair and Jeremy Corbyn, now old Steptoe. Another German kid get murdered in Germany today as well, and the Swedish Democrats look like they've hit nearly 20%, probably just over 19%. So another German kid died. There's Merkel, got more blood in her hands thanks to the globalists. What a scumbags, honestly. And so Jeremy Corbyn is now wanting to try Tony Blair for his war crimes. Now, there is actually a case for actually doing that, because I think Jeremy is potentially correct that Tony Blair might well be a war criminal, which is would stand to reason that you would put him on trial. However, it just shows the divisions. I mean, it's not. There's divisions in the Conservative Party, but I think very soon the people like Anna Soubry, who's not a Conservative, she's just infiltrated the Conservative Party, will be in the same party as old Chucky. Chucky will be in the party with Anna Soubry and all those useless people who want about 5 referendums until they get the vote that they actually want. Will be in the same party. So there'll be the loony left and the neo-communists and the Antifa diddies and there'll be like a who's who of assholes and Nazis in the Labour Party. You've got Gina Miller, King Ming, Anna Soubry, Chucky brother, and all of those diddies in the centrist party, and hopefully we'll get rid of May. And we'll have somebody like Jacob Rees-Mogg. And we've also got very interesting things happening in UKIP with Tommy Robinson potentially going to be let in. Now, what's my thoughts on Tommy getting let into that? It's important to understand where I come from on the Tommy Robinson issue. I'd only met Tommy at the Count Dankula trial, which was another debacle. And I thought Tommy Robinson came across on an individual, and the way I treat anybody on an individual basis is a nice enough guy. And I understand because of obviously what's happened to me in Dubai, and I've actually stayed in the Middle East, what actually happens in a Muslim country. But yeah, I mean, he was a nice enough guy, and I think he's correct. I think he's obviously. I mean, none of us have had an unblighted life. I think that's part of the learning process. But I think he is learning, and he is correct on what Islam is about. And it was interesting to see Nigel Farage. I don't think Nigel has read the Quran. I mean, I was listening to Avi the other day there, and I don't think he's actually read the Quran. So I think Avi was correct and Nigel was wrong, and I think Nigel's usually correct. So it's the first time I've ever heard Nigel speak when I didn't agree with him. I mean, it was quite concerning for me that Nigel has not managed to grasp what Islam is all about. And he really, if he's not read the Quran, he really needs to read it, and the Hadith. And the what's the what was there's I can't remember. That's my dyslexia kicking in. The Nigel Farage has got to read this because he's not on top of his game. Jared Baton's on top of his game, and so is Anne-Marie Waters. They all understand what it says in the Quran because potentially they've read it, and I don't think Nigel has read the Quran. I might be wrong, Nigel. I apologise if I'm wrong, but I don't think you really grasp what it's about. So, old Chucky and Anna Soubry might be forming this new party because all of the Social Democrats within the Labour Party are going to get the chop for the commies. They've already tightened, the communist neo-Nazis in the Labour Party have tightened their grip on the NEC, and they'll be Zeke heiling Jeremy at the Labour Party conference and looking forward to McDonald's stealing of other people's assets to pay themselves very well. That's very ignoble of them. So, through taxation and just using the state to force other people. I mean, what a disgusting bunch, really. So, yeah, so McDonald is. So they're talking about runs in the pound as well. I mean, all entrepreneurs would do if they're getting forced by McDonald and the state is actually move their companies offshore. I might actually set up an offshore relocation business relocation company because I'd make a fortune if Steptoe and McDonald ever get in. I mean, we would. McDonald and Corbyn are a bigger threat to the British economy than Brexit is. So that let that sink in. McDonald and Corbyn are a bigger threat because of their policies than Brexit. And the combination between Brexit and a hardline left-wing socialist authoritative. Oh. I don't know if this is still going, guys. Let me just do this. Yep. There we go. I think we're back. Anyway, so the combination between McDonald and Corbyn and Brexit would be a disaster for the United Kingdom. And it would be a disaster. We would actually, thanks very much. I know I lost you guys there. Thanks, guys. So it would be a disaster. It would be an accumulative effect because Brexit is going to have some consequences because there will have to be a readjustment of the British economy. Then to compile that with Corbyn and their loony policies would just actually exacerbate it. So, I mean, it's just, oh my God, they're just absolute crackpots. I honestly can't believe that they're actually doing it. So, let's talk about Scotland. The Scottish Parliament's back in, and Nicola Sturgeon has done another uninspiring manifesto. And what should she be doing? So I always believe in following or imitating people that are successful, because they're obviously people that are successful for a reason. So what would I do if I was in power? I would cut regulation on Scottish business and Scottish industry. I would set up £2 billion of the Scottish overall budget, the money that's in the money to be spent on start-up companies throughout Scotland. I'd be looking for high growth start-up companies, and I would be backing Scottish entrepreneurs to develop Scottish businesses. We've already seen Skyscanner was a great development in Scotland. I'd be looking for companies like that. I would get the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, to re-establish a Scottish stock market. And I would reinvigorate the Scottish economy, which on last week's paper said that Nicola Sturgeon for the last number of years, and then before that the Labour Party and also Mr Salmond, has stagnated the Scottish economy and can't grow it. I don't call it a women's festo, huh? Well, it could well be a women's festo rather than a manifesto, but it's not very good. It's not really. I mean, Nicola Sturgeon is all great about how much she's spending on goodie boxes for kids and crap like that. All you need to do is not tax the people and let them spend the money on whatever they choose to spend on. Stop overtaxing. Cut the public sector where it can be. I'm not into cutting the public sector on necessities like hospitals, etc. And we'd cut the public sector where it's not necessary and increase the private sector and get the high growth jobs in so that the Scottish economy was growing. Because that's certainly not what's happening. Look what Donald Trump's done in America by cutting tax, cutting regulation, and what they need to do. Because when you're starting up a business, to get stage one funding can be quite difficult. And if you can get stage one funding, then the banks and venture capital and business angels and things like that will look at you, because then you've got a functioning business. And if you require secondary funding, then that's easier. So what they should be doing, which they're not because none of them have ever had a business in their life, is actually spending some of the money that they're actually getting in taxes just now and using it to support the fantastic. We've got some amazing entrepreneurs in Scotland, and they be using that for stage one growth funding to actually get the businesses set up and their economy growing again. But not one of them. I mean, we've got some real bangers in the actual different parties, and not one of them's ever set up a business, I don't think. None of them's got the nuance or the background to actually be able to do this. So we'll be looking for a change in how the Scottish economy was going, because it's not growing, it's stagnating. And I mean, people like the Green Party who want zero growth, I mean, they're just idiots. Absolutely. The Green Party with Moby is the leader. I mean, I've listened to the Green Party stuff, and I thought they were on the glue. Honestly, they're absolutely crazy. So that's it, very simple. I would cut taxes, I would cut regulation in business, and I would increase subsidies or getting some way mechanism, whether it be secure lending by the banks of stage one companies, especially in high growth industries. We would come up with a better way. I'm not really very impressed with Business Gateway and all that. I think most of them could be sacked, and more money could be actually utilised for companies. I'm much more keener on actually empowering the entrepreneur and not actually the state. The state is usually jobs for nothing. You're getting mortgages paid for and pensions and all sorts. So just now, it's going to be interesting. There's changes afoot. Now, I just have to decide. I've not joined the Conservatives yet, but it's coming. And we're going to hopefully get things sorted out on the back of that as well. That'll be an interesting time. So old Boris has now got his oar in the water. I think the writing's on the wall for me. I think we're all behind Boris just now. Even if Boris is a stalking horse, to actually get Mogg in, and Mogg does a deal with Boris to get him back in his Home Secretary, and then Boris probably at a later date could become Prime Minister. He just doesn't have to overly egg his pudding. I think Boris could, that's two offices, big offices of state Boris will have had, and I think Mogg and Boris as Home Secretary could do a deal to get rid of May, because she's rubbish. I mean, it's long overdue her sell-by date. So, yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. I mean, Boris has been very strategic in making these moves just now. And the party conference is coming up. I think we're all keen to get rid of her. But I still think that Jacob Rees-Mogg is going to be a better option than Boris just now. Although I think Boris should be Mogg. If Mogg's clever, he'll give him a high position within the government to eventually take over. I think Boris will be a Prime Minister. He just has to be a bit patient. So it's quite interesting. It's interesting stuff just now. It's quite exciting. But interesting though, they've got this group National Action. National Action are meant to be a National Socialist organisation, Nazis, which nobody's ever heard of them. They just popped out on the BBC. Funny the BBC didn't cover the women stabbing people down in one of the English boroughs. It was probably overlooked as well. I mean, we wouldn't want to do anything to highlight the fact that Muslims are murdering people. Literally illegal. You can't talk about them, mate, but it's literally illegal. It's not far off literally illegal. There's another boy getting murdered in Germany. I mean, the blood that's on Merkel's hands for our globalism. So why is this actually happening? Why are our politicians, including in Germany, all over Europe? I mean, there's the Swedish Democrats just coming right in to power and getting rid of these globalists. What's actually happening? Well, our political class has signed up through the Barcelona process and the Union of the Mediterranean without the consent or even the discussion by the population. They've just signed us up to this without even actually discussing it with us, whether or not we wanted the mass immigration. So that the refugee crisis is not a refugee crisis. Our political parties have already signed up. They've done it to fly and kidded on that these people are refugees to obviously make it sympathetic, because if they'd said, well, you know, guys, we've signed up to this process, this Barcelona process, and we've signed you up to the Union of the Mediterranean, which is going to allow freedom of movement between Africa and Europe. That's why the NGOs, through George Soros funding it, with the consent of our government, including the British government, are actually allowing all these people in. That's why at Dover there are people jumping in the back of lorries, because our government has facilitated this. They've already signed us up to this, and they haven't consented or actually given us any sort of background or any sort of debate on whether we think this is a good idea. And what they use is Antifa, and I'm talking about the Conservatives, the globalists, and then the Conservative Party. They use things like Antifa to close down the other debate. So they now get these fictitious groups like National Action, which probably set up by the MI5 or potentially another organisation, which will probably now join the Labour Party. Now the Labour Party have become a Nazi party now. The National Action, they've got their leader there, institutional racist Corbyn, an anti-Semite. This party just blew up, this National Action. All these right-wing socialists or national socialists have suddenly come out the woodwork, which nobody had ever heard of them before, which was quite convenient for the Conservatives, because that then stopped everybody thinking about the fact that the Conservative government had signed up to the Barcelona process and the Union of the Mediterranean. And that we had never been consulted on it. We never had any choice on it. And they're allowing people just to come through the border, while at the same time suing lorry drivers for having people stow away on their lorries, thousands of pounds, poor lorry drivers, thousands of pounds, when it's the government that's done it. I mean, some working class lorry driver having somebody stowing away in the back of their lorry, when the British government has already signed up to the Union Mediterranean, which allows freedom of movement between North Africa and the EU. That's already been signed in the Near East as well, Turkey, etc. It's all been signed up, and they're allowing freedom of movement, which means that everybody is pouring in to the UK and Europe just now. This has already been orchestrated by our political class, and now they're getting pushed back in the way. The all Eastern Europeans are clever enough not to do that. They've already suffered under the communist scum. And they're not flirting with that again. I see the Poles attacking the communists of Antifa. And understandably so, what they've suffered, and also the fact that the Poles were there at the Battle of Vienna, and also helped in the Battle of Britain in the UK. One of the severe, one of the frontline Spitfire pilots that really helped the Battle of Britain and turned the war as well. So the Poles have already played a great part, but all the Eastern European nations are all too white to Islam as well. The Turks used to have harems. Now, I always thought the harem was quite an exotic place, but what the harem was a rape pit for European women. So when the sultans in Turkey, Turkey was called Byzantine, which was a Christian country, or it was a Christian country, and then the Turks came in and murdered all the Christians in there, and then they started invading up through Romania, Bulgaria, going over to Albania, into Greece, and right up to the Battle of Vienna, where they get the Viennese get helped by the Polish, and the battle turned. But a harem was an actual harem means forbidden in Arabic, but harem was actually a rape pit of European women who used to get captured and turned into sex slaves by the sultans in Turkey. So obviously the Eastern Europeans are a bit white to this. They're not into the communists, and they're not into the Muslims either, because they understand what Islam says. And there again, we've just seen something absolutely disgusting down south. We've seen the trial, and I don't think people should be reporting outside the trial of people that might be innocent. I think it's only when a person is found guilty that you should be actually commenting on it. I don't think... even how disgusting the allegations are, I think that you should be found guilty, because these men aren't guilty of anything until they're found guilty. A bit like Alex Salmond, which will come back, which is very convenient that Nicola Sturgeon has managed to politically hamstring Alex Salmond, who was her mentor. By these sexual allegations, man, honestly. So, which are quite convenient, because Nicola's looking very shaky just now because she's not very good, and Alex Salmond was probably one of the if you don't like Alex Salmond, I understand, but he's still, for a neutral, one of the best politicians that has come out recently. But I mean, obviously, sexual allegations, you only have to look at Donald Trump to see the sexual allegations coming out before the election. I mean, it's a ploy of the globalists. The globalists actually employ honey traps and other things to actually just smear a person's reputation. They're still doing it. They'll never stop, Frank. That's right, buddy. They're still trying to undermine Donald Trump in America by making these deep state, where he's not in control, even though he's got some of the best figures out. If I was in America, I would definitely be going out to vote for Donald Trump. I mean, he's done a great job. I mean, it was a bit of a, is he or is he not going to do a good job to start off with? But it was certainly better than Hillary. But he's done a tremendous job. So, and it's very interesting to watch all the walk-away stories, especially from the African-American guys as well, in the United States, who are all walking away from the Democrats just now. And I think Trump's done that good a job that they might all actually be voting for Donald Trump, but you have to go out there and vote. This is Donald will have to try and retain the House of Representatives as well, but that's only going to be there. It's only going to happen if you guys go out and vote, including the ones that walked away from Democrats, and rightly so. And I'm very clever that the gay guy in New York who did the first walkaway video has now inspired hundreds of people to come out and do their walkaway videos, and especially somebody like Candace Owens, and also my two favourite ladies, Diamond and Silk. So, yeah, so I mean, you've got major messes all over the place. I mean, it's just absolutely bonkers what's actually going on. But I mean, if Jeremy Corbyn gets in and it's a hard Brexit, which Jacob Rees-Mogg is talking about, a Canada-style free trade Brexit, which is exactly what we should be doing right around the world. That's exactly correct. We should have a zero tariff, zero subsidy. So if you're a country, we will give you a zero tariff. If your goods are up to a standard, we'll give you a zero tariff return policy. So you don't put any tariffs on us, we won't put any tariffs on you. The only thing, waking up worldwide, yeah, they are waking up worldwide, Frank. They are waking up worldwide, and but you have not got to subsidise your industry because that distorts the market. So you're not allowed to give government subsidy to your industry, and we have an even playing field on that industry. You can't cheat on that. So that's how you would do it, and you would do that now right round the world. And I think Jacob's the right person to do that. I think Jacob is diplomatic enough, and Jacob will actually be able to get these sort of deals. It's certainly not going to be May. And she's done now anyway. The Chequers deal's out the window. Boris is about to pounce. Even if Boris is big enough to kick the whole thing off. Although I think Jacob, because of the type of guy that Jacob is the guy that will eventually win it, because he is the best. He was the best in the Conservative Party, regardless if it's left or right, just now, as the future Prime Minister. So, I mean, Labour Party are a mess. The Labour Party are going to split. The reason they're going to split is because the Social Democrats within the Labour Party are now getting de-seated. The loonies, the lunatics, the communists are now actually making a policy of de-seating the Social Democrats now. And now they will have to jump ship. So we're now going to we'll see an actual split in the party. All Tony Blair-esque, Gordon Brown, all those guys are now going to have to jump ship into a new party, maybe with King Ming and the old Genie. Going to have to change the rules to get Gina elected, don't you? And maybe with Anna Subramanian and all the other globalists from getting kicked out of the Conservative Party when I get in, then that's going to make it a really interesting. There's going to be a centrist party, a whole bunch of lunatic communists who would be a disaster, turn Britain into Venezuela. We've already seen what's happened there. The Venezuelan leader is about, I mean, they're talking about getting involved. I don't think the Americans should get involved in the replacement of him. I think it can only come from the people. And these poor people are starving on the streets. They're begging for help. I mean, it's really the rock in a hard place. If you intervene, it just looks like the West is intervening in another South American disaster because of the politics. And if you don't intervene, there'll be millions of people again starving on the streets in Venezuela, eating out garbage bags and killing the zoo animals to eat. I mean, can you imagine actually living like that? That's what Corbyn wants for the UK. once old McDonald gets his way and starts to impose companies making funds to actually allow their employees being forced by the state. They're already getting forced to pay thousands of pounds of their profits to McDonald. Betty McDonald stays in a big house. Who says socialism doesn't pay at the top? And these poor Venezuelans starving, absolutely starving on the streets. I mean, it's just absolutely, you couldn't write it. And I feel really sorry for them. I mean, they're human beings, but I mean, this is what happens with socialism. This is what Corbyn will happen, because everybody's just going to say, well, if I don't need to be in the UK, I'll just stick my company in an offshore company tax haven, and you're not going to be able to tell me what to do with that, and you're going to lose the tax revenue that you were getting from me actually having a company in the UK. So what are you going to do then, old McDonald? He's an idiot, absolute idiot. They're now talking about runs in the pound. We're already get problems. There will be issues and realignments coming from the fact of what's happening in Brexit. But to actually duplicate or multiply that by having crazy neo-communist left-wing ideas that don't work, have been tried time and time again, and they're shown not to work. But yet, well, let's try it again. I'm sure that's the first sign of lunacy, doing the same thing over and over again and trying to get a different response or a different result. Oh, fun and games. Well, it'll be interesting. Down the Labour Nazi Party, there'll be goose stepping and Zeke Heiling, old Jeremy. The Jewish members of the Labour Party will get their bodyguards to go into the Labour Party conference, and We'll get old Jeremy and McDonald making more crazy policies. He'll probably just keep it bland, like Adolf Hitler did, and not actually say any policies, because you wouldn't want to start talking about Kristallnacht and all that, would you? You would get really found out. But Majid Nawaz said on the radio in the LBC that the Labour Party are now institutionally racist, and old Chuki said that as well. And Majid said, "Why are you not leaving? If you think that, then why are you not leaving the Labour Party? Then, if you feel that way." And I think that's a very good point by Majid. I think that's correct. Why is he not leaving? If they're institutionally racist and anti-Semitic, why would you stay in a party that actually promoted those values? And it definitely looks like they are promoting those values. Let's not beat around the bush. So, very interesting times in politics. We're going to have different things coming up. We're going to have different political parties coming very soon. It's going to be very exciting. The UKIP revival, as I said, was going to happen, is now happening, and it's getting bigger. UKIP's just going from strength to strength. Gerard Baton's doing a fantastic job. Nigel might be coming back. I have to say, I was more impressed with Avi Yemeni, who I met down in London, than I was with Nigel at this interview. I think Avi was correct, and I don't know whether Nigel's actually read the Quran. I'm going to say that. I'm not sure if he's really got an understanding of what the Quran says and is, which I did, thanks to being in jail in the UAE, being allowed to starve on the streets for 2 years. So, it's very exciting. It's exciting times, but I think Nigel's still got a lot to offer. I think Nigel's a very intelligent politician. He's a lovely fellow. I like Jerry Baton. They're both lovely guys and make a lot better leaders than most of the people out there. Lastly, the Swedish Democrats coming back in. I'm just looking at the results just now. I saw the polls out, looking at 19.3%. Obviously, quite clearly, grenade attacks, mass rapes, shutting down concert halls because Muslims don't allow you to listen to music, shootings, murders, blowing up things, blowing up all the cars. In Sweden, obviously, the Swedish people, the complete changing of the areas in which you live, not even recognising them anymore, probably again because of the filthy socialists and the globalists. It's just not surprising that they're coming in. I don't know how the alternative for Sweden has done, but we're now seeing a rise in the populist right. Now, I'm actually a centrist libertarian, so I'm not actually in the populist right. But you would have to expect a pushback from the people in Europe on the back of these globalist ambitions. And this all stems from the Barcelona process and the Union of the Mediterranean. Our political class had signed us up to this without telling us, because they knew we would have rejected it. And we would have thought it was a crazy idea. So they've come up with this idea to use somebody like George Soros to fund the NGOs, to actually use that as a ferry service. Now, I'll explain why I know this, because I think Identity or Identitarian Europe, or I can't remember the actual name of them, their boat was stopped preventing NGO boats by the Royal Navy. The only way the Royal Navy could have stopped that boat is by sanction from Theresa May. They were preventing the ferrying of these migrants across the Mediterranean, and this was done by NGOs. Now, instead of it going to Italy, because the Italians have all got pissed off and they're all voting for right and left-wing populist parties, it's now coming in because of the idiots in Spain and the Spanish socialist governments down there, because they're obviously complicit in the bigger scheme of things as well. So we've got some absolute scumbags in power. They've lied to us. They basically, I mean, there's the reports in from London and Birmingham that basically the indigenous population have been replaced in two of the major cities in Europe or in the UK within 40 years. Within 50 years, that his demographic has been completely obliterated, and they're basically our own political class through the international agreements that they've actually signed up to is basically ethnically cleansed the cities, and there's no, in certain boroughs, there are no or virtually no white people or indigenous Brits in there. So they haven't made a multicultural society. They've made a monocultural mini society within a constituency, and basically it's racist, because what they've done is they've forced all the British people out, and there's no British people in certain constituencies down in England. So that's what they're trying to do with the rest of the UK as well. It's just absolutely unbelievable. So, and now you're getting a populist pushback. I think that's it, guys. I think I've said enough. 46 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, and until next time.